evening, and welcome to News in 6. Our top story tonight: the Trump administration is reportedly urging Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to prepare for elections and consider territorial concessions to Russia as conditions for resuming U.S. military aid and intelligence sharing, according to a recent NBC report. As American and Ukrainian officials meet in Saudi Arabia to discuss potential steps toward ending the war, Secretary of State Marco Rubio emphasized that Ukraine must be willing to make difficult decisions, including relinquishing Russian-occupied territories, to achieve peace. The demand comes as Washington's frustration grows over Ukraine's continued reliance on U.S. military support in what many now view as an unwinnable war. While Ukrainian forces struggle to retake annexed regions, Russia has solidified its control over Crimea and the Donbas, leaving the Trump administration pushing for a pragmatic shift in Kyiv's strategy. The call for elections has become a central issue, with critics including President Trump labeling Zelensky a dictator for postponing presidential elections under martial law. While Ukraine's parliament has upheld the legality of Zelensky's extended wartime mandate, Trump has privately insisted that Zelensky must commit to holding elections, and some sources suggest that the administration may even pressure him to step down as part of broader peace efforts. Ukraine must show it is willing to do difficult things, just as Russia must, to bring this war to an end or at least reach a pause, Rubio told reporters en route to negotiations in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Trump administration officials have made it clear that simply signing a minerals deal which would grant the U.S. greater access to Ukraine's natural resources will not be enough to restart military assistance. Instead, Washington is demanding concrete progress in peace talks, including territorial concessions and electoral reforms. President Donald Trump has confirmed an immediate halt to all U.S. federal funding for South Africa while simultaneously creating a fast-track pathway to U.S. citizenship for Afrikaner farmers fleeing government-backed land seizures. The move marks a dramatic shift in U.S. foreign policy and escalates diplomatic tensions between Washington and Pretoria. The policy change comes in direct response to South African President Cyril Ramaphosa's recent signing of the Expropriation Act, which allows the government to seize farmland without full compensation. The law, passed on January 23, has been framed as an effort to redress racial land disparities from the apartheid era, but it has drawn sharp condemnation from the U.S. and Afrikaner rights groups, who argue that it amounts to government-backed persecution of white farmers. In a Truth Social post on March 7, Trump denounced the policy, calling it a massive human rights violation and warning that the U.S. would suspend all aid to South Africa until a full investigation was conducted. South Africa is being terrible to longtime farmers in the country. They are confiscating their land and farms, and much worse than that. A bad place to be right now, and we are stopping all federal funding, Trump wrote. He went further, announcing an immigration program specifically for Afrikaner farmers. Any farmer with family from South Africa seeking to flee that country for reasons of safety will be invited into the United States of America with a rapid pathway to citizenship. This process will begin immediately. The decision to cut aid places billions of dollars in U.S. economic and security assistance at risk and could severely impact U.S.-South Africa relations. The White House condemned Ramaphosa's government for dismantling equal opportunity and fueling racially motivated violence, declaring that the U.S. would recognize displaced Afrikaner farmers as refugees facing race-based persecution. President Donald Trump has backed away from plans to double tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum imports to 50%, a senior White House advisor confirmed Tuesday in an interview with CNBC. Earlier in the day, Trump had threatened to raise tariffs on Canadian metal exports, citing retaliation for Ontario Premier Doug Ford's 25% tax on electricity exports to Michigan, New York, and Minnesota. Ford's move was, in turn, a response to Trump's original 25% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum. However, by Tuesday afternoon, Trump signaled a potential reversal, which was later confirmed. Following their discussion, Ford and Lutnick released a joint statement calling their exchange productive and emphasizing the importance of U.S. Canada economic ties. The two sides also announced plans to meet in Washington on Thursday to negotiate a revised trade deal between the United States, Canada, and Mexico ahead of Trump's April 2 tariff deadline. In a recent interview with Sean Hannity, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.B. discussed the ongoing measles outbreak in Texas, where 223 cases have been reported. Kennedy addressed concerns about vaccine efficacy, claiming that measles vaccine protection diminishes by approximately 4.5% per year. In contrast, he noted that individuals who contract the disease naturally develop lifetime immunity. This, he suggested, is why both older adults, whose vaccinations may have waned over time, and young children who are not yet fully immunized are at greater risk during the current outbreak. Kennedy also highlighted the role of maternal immunity, stating that mothers who have previously had measles can pass protective antibodies to their infants through breast milk. However, he claimed that this passive immunity is less effective in mothers who have been vaccinated. Additionally, Kennedy pointed to vitamin A as a crucial nutrient that may help the body defend against measles and other infectious diseases. Health officials continue to emphasize that measles vaccines are available at no cost in Texas. While vaccination is not mandatory, public health experts warn that measles can lead to serious complications, including encephalitis and blindness. For those seeking immunization, local health departments and clinics across Texas are providing access to free measles vaccines as part of efforts to curb the outbreak.